Have you ever needed a game where a quintessential aspect of the gameplay mechanic is petting cute and fluffy animals? Well, good, you're in the right place to learn about the latest Aloft update, the Fluffy Update. Aloft is a super cozy solar punk survival craft game, and the latest update has introduced some incredibly adorable animals. So what do we have to look forward to? Feeding pheasants, shearing sheep, eating alpaca?
Wait till you try the alpaca meat next year. Then you'll know what happens.
No, I'm gonna puke. No one eats alpacas. They use them to make sweaters. I don't know why you bought them in the first place.
Because they're the animal of the future, remember?
It's true, no alpaca will be eaten. In fact, the developers have gone out of their way to try and ensure that Aloft is an incredibly vegetarian and pacifist-friendly game. Even the coal available in the demo is intended to be phased out for more eco-friendly alternatives. So, with how friendly this all is, let's meet our new friends. The mini floof, the mega floof, the bearded floof, and bird. While these are all of the animals currently in the game, there's some concept art released that teases some companion animals as well.
He's so fluffy, I'm gonna die!
All the animals in the game demonstrate sexual dimorphism, though this is not necessarily related to their name. For instance, Javier is my favorite milk goat, and I have so many lesbian couples of sheep. While you cannot currently choose names for your animal friends, the developers have confirmed that that is something in the works for later. They've also confirmed future plans for animals, including collars and leashes to let the animal follow you around or tie them to a certain spot, as well as troughs for food and water to feed the animals. That said, don't worry, it's important to the developers that the animals won't die from player neglect. I expect food and water troughs will just impact the happiness of the animals, much as petting does now. Petting is the core gameplay mechanic to establish your animal friend's happiness level. Happiness is the key component of encouraging your animals to breed. If you have a male and a female of the same animal type, and you've pet both of them enough to raise their happiness level, they'll engage in some heavy petting of their own, and soon you'll have a baby on your hands. The baby comes pre-named and pre-tamed, and it's just as carryable and adorable and pettable as its parents. The other byproduct of animals is manure, because every game needs poop. That said, manure is actually a great way to get dirt in the event you don't want to compost all of your food items or door kip some poor island to death. Where food generally gives a ratio of 1 dirt per food item, manure will give you a ratio of 3 dirt for 1 poop. That's not bad. With that said, let's meet some of the animals that we have so far. The mini floof, or sheep, comes in 2 variations, one with horns and slightly larger, the male, and another without horns and slightly smaller and more adorable, and that's the female. Sheep are partial to hay. Want hay? Step 1, make a sickle, stone or bone. Step 2, find some small plants and use the sickle to get some small plants. Those are a new item. Step 3, back at the workbench, we can convert the small plants into hay. If you found that you've made too much, no worries, you can store them in hay bales of 20, 10, or 5 each. Once you've won over your fluffy friend with some hay, you can use one of the game's new items, shears. Shears can get you wool, which the loom can turn into some lovely wool cloth for some fancy new sails. A sheared sheep or alpaca will be pretty obvious when you look at it, and you'll know it can be sheared again when you see the shear symbol hovering over the animal. Or, when its wool has very obviously grown back just by looking at it. That one's a little easier. The mega floof, or alpaca,
Because they're the animal of the future, remember?
there are a number of similarities to the sheep. They too like hay, and they can be sheared just like the sheep can. Alpaca wool and sheep wool are all just wool. It's no different if you get it from one animal or the other. The difference between the female and male alpaca is also much more subtle than it is with the sheep. The male has a shorter tail and longer ears and is a bit taller, and then on the other hand, the female is shorter overall, and it has a longer tail and shorter ears. The bearded floof, or goat, also likes hay, but doesn't give wool like the other two. Instead, you get milk. This is why goats are probably the most important to get right in terms of gender assessment. The female goats have slightly smaller horns, but will stand out most from the little udders you can see peeking out from under their stomach. The male goats have bigger horns and no udders. This is important because only the female gives milk. So don't be me and spend 30 seconds splashing some poor boy goat with water trying to figure out how to get milk out of it. To milk a goat, equip a bucket and check for the bucket icon over the goat. If it's there, your goat is milkable, so bucket away. If not, and now, burb. The pheasants are probably the most unique of the group. While the other animals like hay, our pheasant friends prefer grain. Grain can be procured by taking any type of seed and running it through the millstone. Now, the hiccup here is that the millstone isn't available until well after the first pheasants you find. The millstone should be the 16th knowledge stone you come across. That being said, you might want to make a note of where the pheasants are so you can come back and get them later when you have grain. While the other animals passively leave manure and can be interacted with to give off the second drop, no pun intended, the pheasants will passively drop eggs and feathers over time, and there's no need to interact with them at all. Well, except to hold them and pet them. The eggs can be used in recipes, and while the feathers don't have a current use according to the developers, they do have plans for them in the future. So now that we know all about the animals themselves, the next question is, how do you find these animals? In the first archipelago you spawn into, you'll find 3 pheasants at a brand new island type, and then 4 goats between 2 of the satellite islands around one of the last big islands in the cluster. Once you leave the starting zone, it's all luck. The developers have confirmed that animal spawners have been assigned to islands, so that only one type of animal will appear on that island. You'll come to recognize the difference in goat islands, pheasant islands, and so forth. The age of the animals will be randomly chosen, but the type of animal that spawns will be consistent. You'll find animals in 3 states, wandering freely, trapped in little bubbles of corruptions on corrupted islands, or... we don't talk about the third one. It's too sad. In order to interact with an animal, to pet it or pick it up, you'll need to either win it over or wake it up based on which state you discover it in. For the animals wandering freely, this is easy. Give them their preferred food, as discussed before. Hay for the goats, alpaca, and sheep, and grain for the pheasants. To get one of the corrupted animals, you just open up the pod and scoop up the slumbering sweetie to carry them to safety. Don't worry, I'll teach you how to fix them later. The main challenge at this point is getting your new animal friend home. While the developers state that there's no intended method of transport at this point and creativity is key, there are 4 different methods that I've found thus far: acquisition, ramps, yeet, or the existential yeet. My first recommendation would be to put up a beacon of some sort, which you can find in your build menu. I like coding my beacons to indicate what kind of animal was on that island, so I could use my spyglass to find the animals again if I'm piloting my home island. For acquisition, it's pretty easy. You just take the island. This is useful for the first pheasants you find, as you won't be able to befriend the burbs or open the cave beneath them until you've gone closer to the eye of the storm. But that doesn't help put more animals onto your island, does it? For ramps, fly your home island as close as you can to the island with the animals you want. Glad you put that beacon there now, huh? Then, build a ramp connecting the 2 islands. You might want some stairs, but luckily you don't have to build anything too fancy. If you don't want to build, go for the yeet. Position your home island directly under the island in question, scoop up your new fluffy friend, and yeet! If you don't want to do any of that, you can take your cuddly companion for a walk into the abyss. It's okay. When you fall out of the world, both you and your new animal spawn unharmed at home. If you only have one animal and you're far, far from home, this is great. But if there are multiple animals, you'll probably want to mark the island and pilot over so it's a shorter trip back. That, and you have to deal with the emotional weight of walking such a cutie patootie off a cliff. Once you have your animal friend on your island, it'll wander around freely. If you want to avoid this for risk of unexpected manure encounters in your storage area, we can try some tricks to enclose them. Animals can jump over anything up to half a wall in height. As of recording this video, that includes fences, but the developers have told me they intend to fix that by the time this video releases. Unfortunately, fences are also the 19th thing you unlock from the knowledge stones, so you may end up needing enclosure tricks before then. In testing things on my world, I found out that all animals, yes, even the mighty alpaca,
Holy shit. They should have been put back in the barn hours ago.
can pass through an opening the size of half a wall on ground level. That said, they cannot jump through an opening of that size, so it's still possible to create some cute animal pens if you don't want them wandering. Be careful though, you can absolutely yoink your animal through a divider by petting it, so it may not be ideal for a petting zoo. I'm sure a whole video could be done on how animals navigate around build elements, but this game is very much still a pre-alpha demo, so I'll just wait and see where things end up. Speaking of game development, this latest release gives us a much better feeling of the story development as we explore the tiers of corruption getting deeper towards the eye of the storm. While I'll do my best to keep this video focused on our fuzzy little friends, rescuing those who have fallen to corruption requires we journey to the center of it all with the most important of goals: waking up cute animals. Hold on. Let me make your life a little easier. You're going to want a few things along the way, so don't pass them up or waste them early on, or it'll bite you in the butt later. Make sure that you hold on to garlic. I cannot stress this enough. I had totally waved off collecting this based on the previous demo, but it is vital in later stages. Also, carrots and potatoes are going to be useful for this, but you're likely collecting those anyway, right? Flax. Flax is life. Flax is everything. Get flax, love flax, learn flax, get seeds, grow flax. You can have an entire crop bed for all of your other crops and then just the flax grow bed. It is so good for so many things. Live, love, flax. Mictor fiber. You're going to want 50. The rest you can turn into rope as you need. Windstone. You're going to want 10 of these. 12 if you haven't made the spyglass yet. You should really make the spyglass. Milk. The more the merrier. Goats really are the greatest of all time. This is the building block off of which all future cures will be developed. Long story short, we're going to follow our table map to island hop our way to the center of the storm. Along the way, we'll be getting various forms of fiber from the evil shroomy boys we fight, and researching a cure that we can apply to the animals that they have held in captivity. Right now, we only have the Mictor fiber to study and cure, but concept art and the research table imply that there will be many more exciting varieties to come. To start, you'll need a research table. This will be what you find in the 11th knowledge stone that you come across. In order to create the research table and all of its components, you'll need 5 planks, 20 stone, 10 windstone, and 13 linen. That's why you need all that flax. Upon crafting your research table, you'll need to research 50 Mictor fiber. This will unlock the brewing lab, which needs milk and either potatoes, carrots, or garlic to turn milk into a Mictor fungicide. And that will unlock the coating station. At the coating station, you can coat your tool of choice with the fungicide, and now fighting our shroomy dudes with that tool will drop intact Mictor samples. For the next tier, you need 30 intact Mictor samples. With that, research again, and you can create the Mictor antidote. This time, you put in your initial Mictor fungicide and add garlic. Make sure to coat your tool with the new antidote and head back out to prune some shrooms. This will allow injured Mictor samples to drop. Now, you want 75 injured Mictor samples, and with that, research one last time, and you can create the Mictor cure. Antidote plus garlic equals cure. Use this on injured animals, annoying barriers, and anything else. Aren't you glad I made you collect all that garlic? By the time you've cured your first animal, you're pretty much at the end of the current demo. That said, there is so much more to this one update. My friend Ali Dove has done a really fantastic job tracking all the new features with every Aloft update, so make sure to go follow them on their channel as well. I know I plan on making a lot more videos focusing on how to explore more of this beautiful game. Until those come out though, make sure to show your support of Aloft by wishlisting it and playing it on Steam. Love what you love, and hopefully by now, you love Aloft.
Something's happening to the alpacas.